A key question to us in the handprint care work is, how do we design lessons for and with learners to kind of foster learning-led ESD in our subject teaching? And here we drew on the four action learning steps to sustainability, or the four-quadrant model, and the action learning approach that we wrote up for UNESCO. So applying the two, we came up with this idea of how were things in the past is really important for story sharing startup. How are things today? Understanding these. What does that mean to us today? And how can we make things more sustainable together around the matters of concern that are felt and can be acted upon by our learners? So the tuning in startup story became really important. Active learning involving touching, talking and thinking and exploring things. Deliberative work, talking together and thinking together. And here the Sustainable Development Goals came in really importantly to be able to deepen the students' understanding of the multiple dimensions of concern. Then rethinking and taking action in small practical ways, and then reviewing and reflecting on the work that is done. So this became really important, and what became highlighted was the importance of understanding how the past has produced the present, and then understanding the transformative learning necessary to be able to reimagine the future. So past stories, real world stories, present experiences and future possibilities, we as teachers needed to bring them together. And the work that Chikamori and Shudel have done was very helpful to us. And here's the Chikamori model, where he said, look, what we need to do if we're going to be looking at a realist perspective and a critical perspective is start with the students' life experiences and then explore the matters of concern and the cultural historical story sharing of how these matters of concern have come out of the past around what is and what is not. The students were able to begin to deal with the necessary knowledge they needed for depth inquiry, looking into things and being able to say, okay, now that we know this, what could be or what should be? They were able to then move on to designing solutions and change challenges, and being practical and only being students in a school, what they were able to say, okay, what can we do and what can be done? And this became really important for us. And the Gina Nhlope provided us a lovely little metaphor for this. She says, in this kind of learning, we should be touching the past with our memories so that we're able to feel the future flying on the wings of our imagination. And this was one of the inspirational dimensions of the handprint care approach. And some of the insights that we derived was a deepening of lesson planning in past and present into the future can be achieved with real-world startup stories that reveal how the past has produced the matters of concern in the present day. This can enable learners to identify what has been neglected or what could be done differently to make things better. And the readings that you might like to look at in terms of if you're interested in researching this area, or if you're interested in deepening understandings of work with critical realism in education, is the Chikamori et al. Paper and the Shudel paper on transformative learning and the dialectical model of learning for ESD.